The following is a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.
Drivers, start your engines. Pull those belts down tight one more time, warm up those tires, hit your marks, and let's go racing, boys and girls. Nascar, Indycar, Formula One, Formula E, and NHRA Racing Talk. This is the Championship Racing Network. Now here is your host, Steve West and Matt Nicholson, with producer John Myers.
Indeed, the gang is all here on this, last show before Christmas, and as it turns out, last show of 2025 for us. We'll explain that all fully here in just a few minutes, so let us be amongst the first to wish you both a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Got plenty of news. Showtimes for IndyCar have been revealed. Formula E taking a shot at Big Brother Formula One. What's that mean? Talk about that in a bit. NHRA answers the IHRA purchase of Maple Grove Raceway, which we talked about last week here on the show. We got sponsors making moves in NASCAR. Jimmy Johnson furthering his 2026 race plans. But unfortunately, we're going to be starting off this show, again, the final one before Christmas, which should be generally a happy time, talking about a very sad event that happened late in the week. We'll get to that right after we do a little bit of business right here on CRN.
Stay right here for more on the Championship Racing Network. Four tires and 2 cans of fuel, and we're back to more racing action on the Championship Racing Network.
Well, welcome back into the show as we get into things fully. My name is Steve West. We got producer John on CRN Live on YouTube, and in the studio alongside me, Matt Nicholson, the resident driver. How are you?
Trying to get woke up after watching a late ball game last night, but
yeah,
I'm here.
It went later than what I was even thinking, truth be told.
Yeah.
For a 7 p.m. kick, Central Time anyway. And here's the thing, and I don't care whether you're an Alabama fan or not. It really doesn't matter. Last night's game proved the old saying of it ain't over till it's over.
That is true.
And if you went on social media and you started looking at some of the reactions, especially around the southeastern part of the United States, I'm here to tell you a lot of people did not learn that lesson, didn't know it, but then got smacked in the face with it last night.
And then some.
So we'll leave that at that. Ready for Christmas?
No.
Yeah, I understand. Me, on the other hand, I'm just going to tease this. For those of you who are on the flagship radio station side of things, you're going to have to go on to CRN Live on YouTube and look at it. I'm decked out in my Christmas sweater. This is it. This is how I celebrate Christmas.
Richard Dixon would be smiling right now.
Trust me, when he saw it, he said, I need one. So we got him taken care of. I'll leave it at that. Those of you that are on CRN Live on YouTube, feel free to comment as you will. If you don't know what it refers to, I'll be happy to inform you in the chat. That's the good news. Unfortunately, though, we get into the news of the week here with maybe some of the saddest news of all. We can't bring you sadder news than this kind of stuff, unfortunately. Thursday, word began to come down about a small jet that had crashed near Statesville, North Carolina's regional airport. The FAA confirmed that they had lost the plane just after 10 a.m. Eastern time Thursday morning, noted that the tail number of the plane, which was a Cessna C-550 business jet, was one that belonged to former Cup Series driver Greg Biffle. Initial reports from the Carolinas stated that it wasn't actually known initially who was on the plane, which made sense initially because Biffle is well known for having done charitable things, including lending his plane and helicopter and other such forms of transportation for charitable purposes, right? However, as the day progressed, it got worse. Garrett Mitchell, known to both NASCAR fans and YouTubers as Cletus McFarland, posted on Facebook that he knew it was Biffle, his wife, and children on board, noting this, quote, unfortunately, I can confirm Greg Biffle, his wife Christina, daughter Emma, and son Ryder were on that plane because they were on their way to spend the afternoon with us. We're devastated. I'm so sorry to have to share this. They were leaving North Carolina to head down to Florida to meet up with him.
Head to Sarasota,
Yep. And that leads us to, unfortunately, remembering him in ways that we want to honor him, but unfortunately, I wish we didn't have to do this.
Yep, no doubt.
Born Gregory Jack Biffle, December 23rd, 1969 in Vancouver, Washington, started racing at a young age on the short tracks around the Northwest United States, garnered attention when he raced in the nationally televised Winter Heat Series in the early 90s. He dominated it. That led then ESPN announcer and former NASCAR driver Benny Parsons to recommend Biffle to Jack Roush. Roush took Parsons' advice, tried him out in the old Winston West Series, 1996. He claimed top 5 finishes in both of his starts, and it led Roush to put him in the then Busch Series, final 2 races of the year. There he didn't fare as well. Blown engine in the first one, placed 36th in the second one, but that performance really didn't matter there. It was his performance in the old NASCAR Northwest Series that had prompted Roush to actually ignore those 2 Busch Series starts and put him in as a full-time driver in the Craftsman Truck Series in 1998. He promptly claimed Rookie of the Year. Claimed his first win in the series the next year, would claim 17 wins ultimately over his career in the Truck Series and the 2000 Truck Series title. The next year, 2001, he was promoted to the Busch Series full-time, claimed Rookie of the Year again, and in 2002 claimed the title there. And then he was promoted to what was then Winston Cup Racing in 2003. He would, over his career, by the way, claim 20 wins in Busch Nationwide and Xfinity Series competition. His rookie year in Cup, he'd once again be trying for Rookie of the Year, but he then missed out on that to fellow Roush Racing driver Jamie McMurray. Did claim his first win in his rookie year, though. Made him the first driver to claim a win in each of the series successively. Trucks, then what we would now call Xfinity or Riley Auto Parts Series, and then Craftsman Truck Series. Instead of doing it, well, got a win here in the Cup Series, let me go down to the Truck Series, try that. Oh, by the way, there's that Busch Series, right? Mm-hmm. Most drivers, all drivers on the list had done it that way beforehand. But also, kind of like missing out on Cup Rookie of the Year, he also just missed out on winning a Cup Series title. His best year, 2005, he finished second in the points to Tony Stewart by only 35 points. Stewart claimed his second Cup title that year. After the 2016 season, Roush did not re-sign Biffle, and Biffle chose not to sign with any other team. But he would continue to race on something of a part-time basis through 2022. Also raced in some other series, including Stadium Super Trucks for 3 years, SRX in 2021, and more. He and his wife, Nicole, got married in 2007. They had one child together, daughter Emma, who we referred to a moment, but they got divorced in 2016. Shortly after that, he got engaged to Christina Grossu. A couple of years later, they had a child together, son Ryder. That was 2020, before they got married in 2023. Here's the thing about Greg Biffle. We have to call it amateur. I mean, he wasn't a professional pilot by any stretch of the imagination, but he was checked out in helicopters and airplanes, and as noted, happy to lend in either one of those and or his own personal piloting abilities to lend a hand in charitable causes. Most notably, helped airlift supplies to both Western North Carolina and Eastern Tennessee after Hurricane Helene a couple of years ago, and many other causes that he supported and assisted over time. As we were saying earlier, as reports continue to come out, it got reported that Biffle's plane had taken off from the Statesville Regional Airport, apparently developed some problem. Details are still very, very sketchy. The NTSB put out a press conference yesterday and stated that while they have heard of such things and rumors of such, they have not been able to determine anything yet because the investigation literally just got underway. They did recover the cockpit voice recorder, so they'll be going over that. They said that ultimately probably 6 weeks to 2 months, maybe 6 to 8 weeks or so, to do a full investigation. Right now, the Statesville Regional Airport is closed to all incoming and outgoing traffic. Probably will be through the weekend. We may not get a report final on this particular plane crash for anywhere from a year to 18 months, just to make it clear.
Yeah, and I've been through Statesville Airport a couple of times. It's a hot for how do I word this? For smaller scale aviation. Let's call it that. It's a pretty high volume airport for that.
Sure. I mean, they're in a very, very centralized location, I guess would probably be a good way to put it when you come to a lot of the NASCAR teams. Yes,
that's there and Mooresville are the two, I guess you could say, hubs for the smaller scale aviation for Cup Series and the Cup Series NASCAR in general,
right?
For private aviation.
Yeah,
but they're going to take a hit with traffic, so I would suspect Mooresville will probably go.
They'll take a brunt of this.
AWOL right now.
Yeah. Anyway, so again, initial reports say it developed a problem. They'd been in the air about 10 minutes. They tried to get back. It crashed as it tried to land back at Statesville Airport. There is some harrowing video that you can find out there from a Ring camera, I think.
Yes, don't watch it.
Yeah, it's rough. It's tough to see, just to be real honest.
There was a guy that was the guy that I follow on social media. He is a corporate pilot, and he's a freighter pilot. Excuse me. He's rated to fly those types of planes. And he said on his social media that he watched the early ADS-B data that's accessible to the public that you can see of how the plane does.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to sound crazy. What he said, he said, now granted, I'm not the expert here. I'm not the one investigating the crash with NTSB or nothing. He said, but some of the characteristics of how the plane done, one, the outside sensors on the plane have caps on them to where they're protected when the plane sits.
Sure.
Those caps may not have been removed.
Ooh, that's a bad oversight.
And secondly, he said with an apparent, and that word is in gigantic capital letters.
Yeah.
I mean, massive capital letters.
This is somebody going upon data that they're seeing on a computer
upon
screen,
data
right?
That it shows possible characteristics with how an apparent dual engine failure,
Ooh.
apparent, that possible wrong fuel may have been put in the plane. And
Again,
if that's the case, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Again, investigations just
yes.
underway. A lot of this is supposition and guessing. And here's the thing: the internet comes up with a lot of stuff. There have been people who have said that Christina, Greg's wife, sent her mother a short text that said just before the crash, or at some point in time just before the crash, we're in trouble. But that's unconfirmed. A whole lot of things are unconfirmed, and this is the good part about social media and the bad part about social media. Yes, news gets out very, very quickly. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, news also gets extrapolated very, very quickly into things that are not real.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. I go back to what we have said and what's been the cornerstone of this show. Producer John knows it. Matt knows it by heart. In that, I would rather be last on a story and get it right than be first on a story and get it wrong and ruin our credibility.
Yep.
Especially in a situation like this.
Yep.
So while we give you that supposition, we give you this information, we don't know 100% or not whether or not any of it's true. And this is where the NTSB investigation comes in. Again, just yesterday, they found the cockpit voice recorder. They're not even going to reopen the Statesville Regional Airport to traffic probably until Monday. And think about it, it's Christmas week already. That's big. So we're just in the starts of this. Long way to go. Either way, here's the important part. In all, 7 people on board. Greg, Christina, Emma, Ryder, 3 others.
Craig Wadsworth, Greg's motorhome driver.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis Doohan, the pilot, one of the main pilots. It's unclear of there were 3 licensed pilots on board,
mm-hmm.
counting Greg himself.
Yes. And we do not know who was piloting at the time.
Right.
That's another thing.
Don't know it. Greg was one of the licensed pilots. Dennis Doohan, which is he is a multi-rated pilot that flew with Delta, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
He flew with Delta and is a freighter pilot as well. He's rated from those aircraft all the way up to a 787. I saw something where somebody shared his license and stuff and his rating that's public access, and he's rated from a C-550 all the way up to a 787, a DC-10, DC-11, MD-11s, all those huge planes. Okay.
Yeah.
His son Jack, I think his name Jack. Yeah. Was a student, aviation student at Auburn.
Yeah.
Rated to be a pilot as well. Was a junior at Auburn and rated to be a pilot as well. So it's unclear if it was Dennis and Jack, Dennis and Greg, Greg and Jack, or whatever combination. It's unclear. Yeah.
We don't know. And in listening to the NTSB, this particular plane has a waiver, I hear, that states that you can run it with 2 pilots or you can run it with 1.
I've seen them run with 1 and 2.
So again, it could be any combination or no combination. It could be just one of them and everybody else was sitting in the back.
It very well could have been.
We don't know. And one of the other questions was, is age of the plane a factor? And the NTSB said that this particular plane was built in 1981 and that with proper maintenance, this plane should have been able to fly for many more years.
It was, I saw something where the last maintenance that was done on the plane, general maintenance was done in March.
So, yeah.
It's pretty recent.
Should have been fine. But, again, all 7 people killed in the crash, amongst them Greg Biffle. Greg Biffle, 55 years old and taken, let's face it, way too early. Talked about his charitable activities, very, very well known for that. But he was one of those drivers that was more than willing to give back. And I can say this, I never personally met him, But from everybody that I have listened to, talked to, or read from, they said to a person, anytime I ever saw or met Greg Biffle, he always had time for me. Whether it was he was in the pits going to his car, or whether it was he was visiting a particular racetrack and I was going to my car. Mm-hmm. Always had time, always had a smile on his face, was always very ultimately helpful. Really had a hard time turning people down, basically, is what we got.
For sure.
This is one of the good people who was taken way too soon. Number one, just days before he would have turned 56, number one. And number two, the entire family this happens to them just before Christmas. And this is not what you want to hear.
Nope. Not at all.
And I hate that. I really do. I hate that we have to lead off with that, but it is, I'm not even going to say arguably, it's the biggest story of the week.
Yep.
Plain and simple. When we come back, we will deal with the other news of the week, including an interesting bit out of the Sports Business Journal that we'll kick off with next. Timing. Let's just say it wasn't really in favor, this particular story. We'll fill you in next.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network.
Here in our final show of 2025. Let me go ahead and fill you in on this. We were planning on taking next weekend off anyway. And in addition, when it comes to crossed flags, we're going to go ahead and we will post some holiday greetings up there that producer John's going to be working on as soon as we get all the videos put together. But we're not planning on really doing anything of any significance until we get back to doing this big show 2 weeks from today, the Saturday after New Year's. Okay? It's been a year. especially after this particular week. It's been a year. We need the time off.
No kidding.
It's and plus we want to spend time with our family and our friends. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So, and whatever you do, wherever you go, if you're going anywhere, please be careful, be safe. A lot of people traveling, obviously, at this time of the year. So be very safe. And if people are coming to you, I hope you can keep your sanity. Might be the best way to put it.
Agreed.
All right, back into the news here. And the timing of this, I get it. This is what the Sports Business Journal does.
Mm-hmm.
You get towards the end of the year and you put out these lists of this, that, and the other thing, right? And the Sports Business Journal has released their list of the top sports influencers of 2025. And here's the thing. On the surface, they're right. After spending 14 years in the National Football League and joining NASCAR in 2006, Steve Phelps rose up through the ranks and became NASCAR's president in 2018. He is considered the major driving force for things like NASCAR's sponsorship and marketing efforts, amongst other things. But when you think about over the past, 2-3 weeks or so, this is just, I'll just say unfortunate timing, because he's not being shed in the best of lights right now.
No, not at all.
So,
not at all.
But, in the interest of being complete, we give you this information. Okay? On to other stuff, and what will become probably little to no surprise to pretty much everybody. The not quite yet retired Jimmy Johnson, the primary owner of Legacy Motor Club and a part-time racer still. He's going to break out that number 84 Toyota Camry with Carvana as a sponsor once again, and he will attempt to qualify for the season-opening Daytona 500. At this time, the only other race that he's confirmed that he will attempt to qualify for is the race on the Naval Base Coronado in San Diego, which makes sense because, as we said when he initially said he was going to do it, that's close to his hometown in Southern California. But those are the only two races so far that he has actually confirmed, yes, I'm going to do those in 2026. Mm-hmm. Do you think it will stop there?
It's hard to say.
And I asked this question, by the way, we're looking at how the car is going to look at Daytona on CRN Live on YouTube right now. And the reason I asked this question is because no disrespect here to Jimmy Johnson, whose resume is rock solid. Mm-hmm. He is a 7-time Cup Series champion with 82, 83, 84 wins? 83 wins.
83, I think.
82 or 83. I forget exactly which. Rock solid resume. You're going to have a very, very difficult time sullying that resume. But the truth of the matter is in that 84 car, the performance really is not there. We haven't seen it.
It hasn't been, no.
And I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's the car. I don't know whether it's just Jimmy Johnson happy to have a ride and he's just riding around. But it doesn't seem to have that instinct that he had when he was racking up all those wins and 7 titles.
83 wins.
83 wins. So there's the other significance of the 84. Not as it just the flip of his regular number when he was winning the titles of 48, but he's shooting for win number 84. Daytona 500 is a wild card. Obviously, anybody could win it, and if he can qualify in it, sure, he could win it. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I'm not seeing the performance out of this car.
It's almost like the 84 car may be the Legacy Motor Club research and development car. The old R&D cars, like when you pull them out of the mothballs and run them for one-off races or so.
Yeah, maybe.
The R&D car. That's what it seems to be because it's been in left field, honestly.
Yeah. And for the Daytona 500, I get that. But for a race like the Naval Base Coronado, again, very close to his hometown where he was born and raised, one would think that he's going to say, hey, listen, guys, we can't do R&D on this. I want to have a car that has a legitimate chance.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because that means, truth be told, that probably means more to him than Daytona 500.
It probably so, winning a hometown race. I mean, why would it not?
Yeah, I agree. News broke just yesterday afternoon that Brad Keselowski had been taking his family on a skiing trip. It didn't go quite as well as he had planned. Brad broke his leg on Thursday. Underwent minor surgery, set the bone. Doctors say it should be a quick and full recovery and should be back in time for the 2026 season to start. Brad put out a statement where the 2012 Cup Series champion said, quote, I'm grateful for the medical team who took great care of and for the support system around me. My attention now is fully on recovery. I'm motivated to get back to full strength as quickly as possible, and will work relentlessly to be ready for Daytona. Daytona's 6-7 weeks away-ish. Yeah, I don't see a problem with that.
Something like that, yeah.
I mean,
Shouldn't be.
We've seen people that have had broken legs that got back in the car 3 weeks after.
Yeah.
So, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, you'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
Do the rehab. He'll do the work. We all know it. Speaking of traveling this Christmas, if you happen to be traveling this week, just maybe you're going by a racetrack that has their annual Christmas light display. One that you could drive through. We're going to show you one here on CRN Live on YouTube. Charlotte Motor Speedway, I think, was the first one that ever did this.
Mm-hmm.
Other tracks have begun to do it and have been doing it over the years. The picture that we're going to show you on YouTube is an older picture. I don't know exactly which year this is, but it really doesn't matter because it changes every year, but you kind of get a good idea of exactly what it is that you're going to be in and involved in if you get the chance to drive around it. So if you happen to be going by Charlotte, Dover, Michigan, Worldwide Tech Raceway at Gateway, Las Vegas, or Bristol, you could check these out. They are expected to run through at least the weekend after Christmas, if not the weekend after New Year's. And I haven't had the opportunity to do it myself. I just haven't traveled anywhere near those places. At some point in time, though, I'd love to do that. I think it would be a lot of fun to go see that and drive through it.
They used to do them at they used to do one in Atlanta, and I've been to it, and I've been to the one at Bristol. The one at Bristol is pretty neat.
Yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun to do it. I really do.
You start on the end where the drag strip is, and you drive through a little portion of the parking lots where they got lights set up. Then you drive down the drag strip, come back up, and then where it ends at is inside of the oval, and where there's a holiday village they have set up, what they call it. It's pretty neat.
Yeah. And, all the tracks are different because they're all set up differently and everything.
Yeah.
Pretty cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Almost the exact opposite of the Greg Biffle story is the congratulations that we send out to Alex Bowman and his longtime girlfriend, Chloe Henderson. The pair announced that they got engaged. It happened last Saturday evening. Posted a couple of pictures of it on social media. You can see those both now on CRN Live on YouTube. One of them shows Bowman on one knee asking the question, then the couple with their two dogs. They haven't announced a wedding date yet, though.
I'm sure it's coming.
Will it be before we get to the season, or you think they're going to wait until after the 2026 season?
Probably wait.
Okay. Would you do it on an off weekend?
Oh, yeah. Seen it done before.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it depends on exactly what your plans are for a honeymoon and how far you plan to go.
True.
You might want to
wait.
Let's go back to that lawsuit, shall we? Not put this thing to bed. Most of us want to put the lawsuit behind us, but apparently Denny Hamlin isn't, and he's prepared to kick a dead horse. Hamlin got onto social media Tuesday of this week and called out SiriusXM Satellite Radio's channel number 90. That's the NASCAR channel. Hamlin wants an apology for comments that some of the hosts made about the lawsuit, and he specifically called out former Cup Series crew chief and now midday show host Larry McReynolds, host of the On Track show. He posted this in response to Larry McReynolds touting the show that day. Kind of like what we do on social media if you follow us. Quote, now that the case is settled and the evidence is out there, will you or anyone on Channel 90 be issuing an apology for all you said about 2311 and FRM when the lawsuit was filed? When he was asked by one other responder, not McReynolds, what they needed to apologize for, Hamlin came back with this, quote, I believe it was, how dare them for trying to come in and change the sport. 2311 hasn't been around long enough and FRM wasn't good enough. And also, how about I don't know what their problem is? 13 other teams signed it, just to name a few examples. When pressed further, Hamlin continued, quote, well, because I believe that once the actual facts and the documents were released, it was contradictory to the narrative that was being pushed. Larry is a very hardworking analyst. Hopefully he took the time to analyze the situation post-settlement and revise his thoughts. Nobody from SiriusXM Satellite Radio's NASCAR channel officially responded. They did talk about it, obviously, at length after the settlement came down. I'm just going to go this far and say this fairly bluntly. I'm thinking probably no Christmas cards are going to be exchanged here, and I doubt seriously that Denny Hamlin's going to be appearing on SiriusXM Satellite Radio anytime too soon.
Probably not. Probably not.
And I will state this flat out to Denny Hamlin. You got the win. You got the ultimate win. We talked about the settlement at length last week. 3 of the 4 pillars you got. Let it rest.
Indeed.
People are entitled to their comments. You're entitled to agree or disagree with them as you wish.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the fun part about being the veteran that you are, who has been in this sport for 20 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
You're in your mid 40s. Learn when to put things behind you.
Yeah.
Larry McReynolds, Danielle Trotta, Dave the Godfather Moody, Pete Pistone, Mike Bagley, and all the other people that fill in.
Mm-hmm.
Alan Cavana, Doug Rice, et al.
Yeah.
They're entitled to their opinions.
Yep.
I've also seen one of the more ultimately stupid social media posts, welcome again to social media, that NASCAR actually owns and operates Channel 90. Wrong! NASCAR does not own any part of SiriusXM satellite radio. Channel 90 or not. None of the people that work there are technically employed by them. Mike Bagley and Dave Moody are employed by MRN, which is kind of a thing that started by NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth of the matter is, and I know this because I've talked to Dave Moody, and I've talked to Danielle Trotta, and I've talked to Alan Cavana, and I specifically asked this question of them at a conference earlier this year. How free are you to criticize that which actually puts food on your table? And they said they have no restrictions. They may choose to couch their words more carefully than, say, Matter I do. And here's the funny thing. Technically, I am employed by NASCAR. For the 2 weekends a year that we're out at Talladega Superspeedway, I get paid by NASCAR because I'm in the PA booth in the tower. But I need to take my NASCAR employee hat off when I'm doing this job. This is a media job. This is fairly well known for saying journalism is dead. But the truth of the matter is I'm going to be that kind of person who is going to call out right when it's right and wrong when it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't particularly care one way or another that Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan and Bob Jenkins and all those people from 2311 and Front Row Motorsports decided to go ahead and sue NASCAR. I did agree with Judge Bell in this. Neither side's going to come out of this looking that great. And it's true. They didn't.
Nope. Not at all.
The PR aspect of that lawsuit is something that NASCAR is going to have to deal with for years to come. And it's going to be tagged onto the teams for probably a few years as well. And it really doesn't matter which side of it you fall on.
Yep.
Whether you supported the teams or you supported NASCAR, it doesn't matter. This is a black eye or 2 black eyes for NASCAR. And now you have a situation where everybody's worried from this point on that if something happens that comes down from NASCAR, who's the first team that's going to sue? That's the black eye on the teams. It's not just 2311 and Front Row. That's a black eye on every team.
Oh, it is.
So Judge Bell was right. Denny Hamlin, you had a chance right here to come out of this and gain a lot of support. And in a short period of time, you did. And I say that because the last couple of years, we have seen the black hat of the bad guy in NASCAR go from Kyle Busch squarely to Denny Hamlin.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to do is be at any track during pre-race driver introductions. And the loudest boos right now that you hear are for Denny Hamlin. Strangely enough.
That they are.
But I was listening and I was hearing a whole lot of people, whether it was on social media or whether it was on radio or television, talking about how their opinions of Denny Hamlin had begun to change. Maybe not anymore. it's in the past. We're approaching New Year's. A chance for us to turn over that. Go ahead and do it a little early, Denny. Just some friendly advice. Do it a little early.
Can't go forward looking out the rearview mirror.
Nope. And that's something, as a racer, he ought to know very well. He's got 60 wins after all.
Mm-hmm.
One would think he'd have learned that lesson well. When we come back, Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona's got some names that we know of, a lot of them from Indycar. How about NASCAR? I can give you one. Actually, I can give you two. We'll talk about them coming up. Plus, we'll also talk about Hendrick Motorsports and a sponsor situation they got coming up.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network. Go, go, go. We're back to the Championship Racing Network.
We are back. We appreciate you joining us on this week. And Hendrick Motorsports driver Chase Elliott have a partnership with Prime Video, and that's going to make its return coming up in 2026. They have a deal. It's going to have Prime Video on the hood of the number 9 car for 3 races this upcoming season and in 2027 as well. This coming year, the 9 car is going to wear the Prime sponsorship at Talladega Superspeedway in the spring, Texas, and then the All-Star race. All 3 of those coming, especially the All-Star race, right in front of the 5-race slate that the Cup Series will shift over to Amazon Prime Video for. In looking at everything last year, were you able to get at least a taste of all 4 of the different networks, quote unquote, that covered Cup Series racing?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Which one to you was the best?
If I had to rank them, if I had to rank them 1 to 4, I would say Prime's going to be 1.
I have a hard time arguing that.
Prime would be 1. NBC, I give the slight edge for 2nd.
Okay, you rate them higher than I did.
TNT would be 3rd, and unfortunately, Fox would be 4th.
Okay. And there's a possibility that my affinity for Mike Joy and his ability to have done what he is doing for so long, it tends to put me up there, and I've never been a big fan of Jeff Burton, and that might be tinging it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of put NBC and Fox Sports, NBC and Fox Sports pretty much 2A, 2B, or 3A, 3B, if you want to put it that way. I think TNT did a better job than what I expected them to do. And that's why I might put them number 2. But I agree with you in this. I think Amazon Prime was tops.
Mm-hmm.
And it has nothing to do with commercial breaks. I mean, they still went to commercial break, but they didn't have to do as many, obviously, as the network did, because network has their own commercials, and then they got to give their affiliates a chance. But it's the pre-race, the race coverage, and the post-race that all worked together, and Amazon Prime just did a bang-up job. They set a bar that I really honestly don't think that the 3 other partners are going to be able to match. I'll just put it that way.
It's going to be hard.
Yep.
It'll be hard.
Let's see here. What else we got? One last note in the Cup Series. There will be at least one NASCAR driver participating in the upcoming 24 hours of Daytona, the Rolex 24 hours. All the IndyCar drivers that are going to be involved, we'll talk about a little bit later on in the show. The NASCAR driver is likely, to no surprise, Connor Zilisch. Cup rookie to be is going to be racing for Action Express in their number 31 Cadillac V-Series R in the GTP class. He'll be working with drivers like former IndyCar pilot Jack Aiken. And here's the thing. He may be a Cup rookie, but he's no rookie in the 24. 2 years ago, at the ripe old age of 17, he was one of the drivers in the LMP2 entry for Era Motorsport, and his car was the LMP2 class winner. Last year, he was one of the drivers for Trackhouse Racing of the Trackhouse Racing Prepped, I should say, GTD Pro Chevy Corvette Z06 GT3R entry. So this will be his 3rd run, but his first chance at only 19 for an overall Rolex 24 win. He got his first laps in the ride just last month, but I think we've found out that Connor Zilisch is a pretty quick learner.
When it comes to road courses, yes.
Yeah, he knows his way around road courses, and to adjust to this car, I don't think will be that big of a deal because he's been working his way up into this car anyway for the last couple of years.
Yep.
To the Xfinity, soon-to-be O'Reilly Auto Parts Series news. As we begin to wind down the year 2025, obviously Bill's business still being handled, Harrison Burton got himself a new sponsor and a new team. He moves over to Sam Hunt Racing. He'll be driving their number 24 Toyota in 2026, and he's getting an assist in sponsorship from Dead On Tools. They signed on as a primary sponsor for dozen races, 12 races in this coming year. It starts with Daytona. Black and gray. It's hard to go wrong with that color combination. It's a good-looking color.
Yeah.
Good-looking car right there. No doubt about it.
Yep.
And then to the detriment of Rick Ware Racing, here comes Junior Motorsports, who announced they've picked up sponsorship from Arby's. Well, here's the thing. This is a multiple level sponsorship partnership deal. Not only is this going to cover the race team, if you're on CRN Live on YouTube right now, you can see there are 3 different signatures down at the bottom under the Arby's sponsorship. They are in order: Junior Motorsports, Dale Jr. himself, and Dirty Mo Media. So here's the deal. Yes, it will cover the race team. We'll detail that in a moment. They will get advertising on Dirty Mo Media, which is his media company that is over things like the Dale Jr. Download podcast and more. Danny Hamlin's podcast too, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Arby's, in return, will get to adorn the hood of a Junior Motorsports entry for at least 8 races this coming year. And there is a personal services provision of that contract with Dale Jr. as well, which means he'll probably be appearing in their radio and or TV ads.
I would say that was highly likely.
Here's what we do know. Arby's will adorn the hoods of 3 of the 4 Junior Motorsports car throughout the 2025 or 26 season and probably further. And those will be Carson Kvapil, who, remember, he's sharing time in that car. I was trying to think of the proper word with Connor Zillage.
Mm-hmm.
For Sammy Smith and for Justin Allgaier. And when they're not a primary sponsor on the 7 car, they will be an associate sponsor on Allgaier's 7 car. And Arby's can afford it. I mean, they've been a sponsor on Rick Ware Racing in the number 51 entry last couple of years.
Last year, yeah.
Okay, at least in the last year. They've got 3,500 locations in 6 markets around the world. They continue to grow.
It's I saw the breakdown. It's 4 races on Quapple, 3 races on Sammy Smith, and 1 on Allgaier.
Okay, but then again, he carries the logo the entire year because even when they're not on the hood, they'll be somewhere on the car.
Yes, he will. If I'm not mistaken, I think Sammy Smith has them at Talladega and Spring.
And the thing about this is, I'll say this, obviously this helps junior motorsports, and any money that comes in the door is obviously a good thing when you're dealing with a race team because, like we've said many, many times, the old saying in the racing world is, if you'd like to make a small fortune in racing, you start off with a big fortune. So any money coming in the door is great. So while it's great for junior motorsports, this is a pretty big loss for Rick Ware Racing, which has never been one of the top money getters in NASCAR in the first place.
For sure.
It'll be interesting to see how they fill that hole. One note in the Craftsman Truck Series, and that belongs to Chandler Smith. He had a very good year in 2025 running the number 38 truck for Front Row Motorsports, and as such, the team has re-signed him. He will be in the truck through 2026 at least. John Leonard will return as his crew chief as well. They had a 2-win season, claiming wins at Bristol in the spring and North Wilkesboro. And overall, they claimed 5 top 5 and 16 top 10 results over the course of the year. And let's face it, everybody just got flat out overshadowed by Corey Heim.
Yep.
Who I still can't believe doesn't have a full-time ride in one of the top 3 series in NASCAR.
Yeah, I'm kind of it's kind of a head scratcher as to why it's not been announced where he's going yet.
It's just unreal. Absolutely unreal. One more note in the NASCAR world here, and we have talked a little bit about the NASCAR channel, not at any length. We talked about it when it debuted and when they started doing some of the little things that they were promising. This is that channel that is all about NASCAR. It promised showing old or archived races, some new shows, a lot of race coverage, they said. Things like Snowball Derby activities leading up to the race anyway. They didn't actually show the race itself, but they showed some of the lead up to it. They also air the opening drive in conjunction with the aforementioned Sirius XM satellite radio. Now, as they try to get more of that new content in, as of Wednesday evening of this week, they debuted a documentary called Kid Racers. It's a film-length documentary that follows 5 families out of Millbridge Speedway at Salisbury, North Carolina, as they try to get their kids into racing in outlaw karts and see if they can't work their way up through, and who knows what they can do in the future, right? These outlaw karts, they state, can go 45 to 55 miles per hour, and it has seen kids of very well-known NASCAR families right now race. In fact, currently, the children of Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, and Clint Boyer all currently race in that particular division. John Dahl, NASCAR Senior VP of Content, said of the documentary, quote, Kid Racers shines a light on one of the most authentic and emotionally charged corners of our sport, where passion is born, families rally together, and the next generation of NASCAR talent takes shape. We're proud to debut it on the NASCAR channel. It is free, doesn't require a subscription of any kind. It's available through things like the Roku channel, Xumo Play, Tubi, Samsung TV Plus, and Prime Video. The documentary covers the 5 kids throughout the 2025 season. Outlaw karts, how familiar are you with those? I mean, we talk about karting a lot, but that's mostly in relation to people who are working their way up through the open wheel ranks, working into IndyCar or Formula One.
Outlaw karts have basically like a mini sprint car.
Okay. All right.
A real mini sprint car. And they're really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Real fun.
In Salisbury, North Carolina, what do you know of that track?
Millbridge is the size of Millbridge is equivalent. Let's use that term. For anybody that's seen the karting track at Talladega Short Track, it's equivalent to that size.
Okay.
It's pretty small.
All right. But talking about getting 45 to 55 miles per hour on a track that size, you're cooking.
It's not hard to do.
You better know how to control your car.
Yeah.
Little bit of NHRA, IHRA news here before we wrap up hour number 1 this week. And it floored us. There's no doubt about it. We gave it to you last week here on the Big Show with the somewhat surprising news that Darrell Cuttle, and it's not like he can't afford it. Don't get us wrong. That's not the part that surprised us. It just surprised us that they went in, they bought Maple Grove Raceway, which has been an NHRA stalwart for many years.
Mm-hmm.
And what we wondered was, with the already previously announced situation of the countdown to the championship that was supposed to kick off at Maple Grove Raceway, would they continue to do that at least for 2026?
Mm-hmm.
The quick answer is no, they won't. Monday of this week, and remember, we announced it Saturday, and the news came down that they had bought it Friday a week ago. Right?
Yes.
So Friday a week ago, Saturday we talk about it. Monday, the NHRA decided to state, yeah, the first of the 6 races of the countdown to the championship not going to be at Maple Grove Raceway in Pennsylvania. Instead, we're taking it to Martin, Michigan, to US 131 Motorsports Park. There's some levels here, which we're going to get to in a second. This is going to be the first time that a national NHRA event will take place at US 131. Also means that the NHRA is going to 4 new facilities in 2026. In fact, the first 2 events of the countdown to the championship are going to be new to the Mission Foods Drag Racing Series. Now you got US 131, which will be followed by Rockingham Dragway in North Carolina. The other 2 new places for 2026 are South Georgia Motorsports Park and Maryland International Dragway, both of those events taking place in May. You and I talked about this a little bit at the beginning of Cross Flags. We teased this story for this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
IHRA has obviously put a shot across the bow, if not right into the broadside of the NHRA. They have come in, and in just about 1 year since Darrell Cuttle announced that he had purchased the NHRA, he has been on a massive buying spree. We know where the money's coming from. You stated it. He's been a real estate manager, effectively, for Elon Musk.
He's I've seen that he does work in the real estate business with him. Yes,
I guarantee you he gets paid handsomely to do that.
Probably so.
And that's well apparent by the fact that he buys the IHRA. Shortly after doing that, quickly announces a 7-track buying spree. That was early this year. Goes out, works a deal with IHRA in Australia and New Zealand. We found out about the one in Aruba, which we're not really 100% sure what all that's all about because it didn't get a whole lot of press. Then says, I'm going to start my own stock car series, which if you listen to the show, you know it's really more like Late Models Cars Tour than NASCAR competitor. Went out and did a deal with F1 Powerboating and now has bought that. And then announced another round of track buying, which apparently includes, if the ink is not dry, it should be soon, not only Maple Grove, but Memphis Motorsports Park, Montgomery Motorsports Park, Atlanta Dragway, which used to be an NHRA stalwart as well.
The ink's dry on Montgomery.
Okay. All of this is changing and just coming at us from all angles. So it's hard for me to keep up sometimes. And that's why Matt's here as well, because the 2 of us can keep track on this from 2 different angles. Darrell Cuttle, as I said, and the IHRA as a whole, at the very least have put a shot across the bow of the NHRA, again, if not right into the broadside. You thought about this for a couple of minutes and you thought, could this actually be the NHRA's return fire? And I hadn't thought about this because, again, this is them going into Michigan. What's significant about that?
IHRA has a couple of tracks in Michigan.
So they're going into the IHRA's backyard. Maybe that's significant. Maybe it's not. It is going to be real interesting to see because we just talked about this as well. The NHRA is going into their 75th anniversary. They are the stalwarts. They are the standard bearers of drag racing, really around the world. If you want to get right down to it, with all due respect to the International Hot Rod Association. The NHRA is what generally people think about when it comes to drag racing. That's the first 4 letters that generally comes out of anybody's mouth. But Daryl Cuddle's saying, hey, folks, the IHRA has been around a good long time. Yeah, it kind of went away for a while. But we're back. We mean business. It's going to be real interesting to watch this rivalry as it continues to grow, because it ain't going to stop anytime too soon. Daryl Cuddle's put too much money into this for him to just suddenly wash his hands of it and go, you know what? Yeah, I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
He's invested way too much.
Way too much.
All right. Hour number 1 in the books. Hour number 2 getting underway. Oh, Formula One. As the Pirelli turns?
Don't touch that dial. The Championship Racing Network will be right back. Cans of fuel, and we're back to more racing action on the Championship Racing Network.
Nice timing.
Great
Welcome
timing.
in hour number 2 here of this edition of CRN, the big show. We appreciate you joining us. I'm Steve West. Matt Nicholson right over there across the desk from me, and on CRN Live on YouTube is producer John. Here's the thing. We got new regulations, new engine regulations for 2026 in Formula One, right?
Mm-hmm.
We haven't even seen them on the track yet. And a German magazine, whose name I will not attempt to butcher, it's not Automoto und Sport, has reported that several F1 teams have filed a request for clarification to the FIA in regards to, I can't put this any differently, the belief that Mercedes and Red Bull have found a way to game the compression ratio rules for the series this coming year. The teams are claiming that the two organizations have found a way to where as the race temperatures, as they get up to race temperature, that the compression ratio will increase and then it would return back to the regulations according to the rule book as the engine cooled down. Matt's trying to get his head about this, so while he's doing that, let me try and give you the details as I read them. For 2026, one of the new rules is that the compression ratio is going to drop from an 18-to-1 ratio from 2025 to 16-to-1 for 2026. Ferrari and Honda started looking into it. They brought Audi into it. Remember, Audi technically hasn't even put their power unit to the test on track yet. And they filed this request for clarification, which reads in part, quote, attention has focused on the use of materials that could expand as operating temperatures rise, helping to increase the compression ratio. This would be a violation of the technical regulations, which reiterates that the cars must be compliant at all times during race weekend. The FIA's response was typically neutral. Now, we'll see what happens. They said, quote, the topic has been and continues to be discussed in the technical forums with the power unit manufacturers, Ferrari, Audi, Honda, Mercedes, Red Bull, Ford, so to speak, and on. As the new limit naturally raises questions about the interpretation and compliance, the FIA continuously reviews such matters to ensure fairness and clarity, and if necessary, may consider changes to the regulations or measurement procedures in the future. Now, these cars are riddled with electronic gadgets and gewgaws and all that kind of stuff. Is there a way that they could put some sort of electronic measure on this that would make sure that it stayed 16-to-1 throughout the temperature rises and falls? Or is this really just making a mountain out of what might not even be a molehill?
So they're sitting here saying,
and again, remember, these engines have not seen the track right yet.
They're sitting there saying that they've found a way to make compression ratio increase?
Yeah. From the 16-to-1 to maybe closer to the 18-to-1, which would give you more power.
You can't do that electronically.
Can you? Is there a material that would allow you? I mean, what metals do you know of that might allow that to happen?
Oh, boy.
I'm not even sure where this is. I mean, this not only came out of left field, this came out of someplace way beyond where the fences are. This came from
the left, past the left field foul pole.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to drive through where the sign says you're in the middle of nowhere to come up with this.
I think the only way you could, with compression ratio, is the size of the piston rings.
That's what I would have thought.
And once... Jeez.
Yeah. I mean,
once you install piston rings, you can't make them change.
We're way off in the weeds on this. I don't know where this came from.
I don't know. I don't know.
We'll see. Time will tell. Let's get on to stuff that actually matters more, shall we? The investigation will go on. I'll be honest with you, I don't think much is going to come of this.
No.
I really don't. All right. So with the 2025 season in the rearview mirror, and technically so is the name Sauber, Audi has announced details about their 2026 debut season and their official name. Sauber's nowhere in it. The team has revealed that they have title sponsorship from a financial tech company called Revolut, and that news was actually released back in July. And they have said that the official team name for 2026 is the Audi Revolut F1 team, of which you can kind of see their logo, if you will, on CRN Live on YouTube. They only do kind of a silhouette of the race car. As for showing off the race car, in addition to that logo, that's not going to happen for, well, almost exactly another month. They noted the car is going to be shown off to the public on January the 20th in a press conference in Berlin. Team principal Jonathan Wheatley said, quote, today our project takes on its official identity. The Audi Revolut F1 team name is a symbol of the combined strength of our teams in Germany, the UK, and Switzerland together with our partners. Excuse me. Apparently, I'm allergic to Audi and Revolut. It provides a banner under which we all unite as we build towards 2026. It's a crucial milestone that energizes the entire project, makes our long-term ambition tangible for everyone involved. The reveal of the car, again, will happen the day before they open their German headquarters to the public, where they will hold an open house. That's the one in Germany, not the one in Switzerland or the UK. Maybe those will happen later. I don't know. Yes, they're taking over Sauber, but they're changing so much. Yeah. Effectively, they're bringing in an all-new car. Mm-hmm. They're bringing in their own power plant. What Sauber was using, see ya.
Yep.
So, to me, even though they have taken over an established team, they're much in the same situation as Cadillac is. They're coming in fresh with really nothing from 2025 to be able to use, for all intents and purposes. Mm-hmm. Who catches on quicker in your mind? Does Cadillac catch on quicker, or does Audi?
I think I'm going to hedge my bets on Cadillac.
Why would you say? And let me state this first. I kind of tend to agree with you, but why do you state that?
It seems to me that Cadillac's making all their moves. That's everything together. They're making their moves more public, where that, hey, you're gonna know what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And it just seems to me that Cadillac's gonna have that edge, because they're not holding anything back. They're like, hey, we're doing this, and this.
And this is no disrespect to Cadillac's choice of team principal.
Right.
Graham Loudon. He's not one of the better known names. All right. The name that Audi got, much bigger, much better name, came from Ferrari. Mm-hmm. But overall, the way that Cadillac, Andretti, built up the infrastructure of this and put so much into it, even before they knew they were going to get a team, just tells me that they've got. I mean, Audi's taking over Sauber's, infrastructure.
Yep.
Not exactly the sturdiest of infrastructures to begin with.
Right.
And they're keeping that Switzerland place that Sauber was in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes, they're adding the UK location, and Sauber already had that, so I think they just took that one over. The only difference is they've put in a tech center effectively in Germany.
Yeah.
Cadillac's got a tech center sitting right behind Hendrick Auto in Charlotte. Not too far away from Charlotte Motor Speedway. They've got the full entire backing of General Motors. And I'm not telling you that Audi doesn't have the full entire backing of Volkswagen, but you want to bring something to bear.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time looking at Volkswagen and General Motors and going, one is significantly better than the other. I have a hard time saying VW is significantly better than GM when it comes to doing this.
Right.
And with the amount of money that they're putting in, GM is not going to suffer a low performance team. Audi has the ability to state, yeah, we can have some patience here. GM's not going to have patience. They want performance immediately. And their benchmark is Haas, which seems like a low bar to jump over. But let me put it to you this way. What did Haas do in their debut season in 2016? They scored points not only in their debut race, but their first two. Mm-hmm. That's the benchmark that Cadillac is looking at and going, we need to not just get over it, we need to leap over it.
It's just weird to sit here and think, knowing that there are two F1 organizations that have a facility of some sort within 10 miles of each other in North Carolina.
That's true. Yeah, it is. I mean, we've seen them. We
actually probably within 5.
Yeah, maybe true too. I mean, last spring, went to a conference in Charlotte. I laid eyes on the GM Tech Center. That place is just ridiculously large. And it can cover every single aspect of racing that General Motors is involved in, from NASCAR to Formula One to IndyCar to the NHRA and IMSA and you name it. Obviously, I can't lay my eyes on what Audi's got in Germany. All I can do is look at pictures. But we have seen the Haas F1 headquarters, which is literally the building right next door to when it was Stewart Haas Racing. That's when we went and looked at it in Kannapolis. And he's right. It might be, as the crow flies, less than 5 miles away.
That is actually going to be 8 miles.
Whew. Wow. It's tough.
8 miles. Yep.
Full 3 miles more than that. Yeah, I mean, from a dozen years ago, zero representation effectively for the United States in Formula One. And now we got 2 teams, and they've got locations that they are heavily involved in that are less than 10 miles from each other.
That's wild.
Well, we'll find out exactly how far F1 goes here. Last week we hinted at the possibility, and this week he got confirmed. 4-time F1 champion Max Verstappen, not the champion in 2025, has to switch back from the number 1. According to F1 rules, that's a number that only the defending champion can use. He needs to go back to his career number, or as Coach Lee Corso was so fond of saying on College Game Day, quote, "Not so fast, my friend," because Verstappen's chosen career number was 33, and that was mainly because his first choice of a career number was being used by Daniel Ricciardo. As we noted last week, but as a reminder, that number can be used again once the driver who last used it has been out of Formula One for 2 consecutive years. So as 3 is available again, but then you might be thinking, wait a minute, didn't Daniel Ricciardo run his last race in late 2024? Yes, he did. Verstappen petitioned FIA and Formula One to allow him to change his career number, and because of the way that the rule is written, they approved it because Daniel Ricciardo said, yeah, let him go ahead and use it. September 2024 was his last one. He told the FIA and F1, yeah, go ahead. Let him have it. It's available. Meaning he knows he's not coming back to F1.
Figure that he would probably, if he begged for it long enough, he'd get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably that's what that was, yeah.
Verstappen announced it this week, said, quote, "My favorite number has always been 3 apart from the number 1, so now we can swap. It'll be the number 3. Number 33 was always fine, but I just like 1-3 better than 2. I always said it represented double luck, but I've already had my luck in Formula One." One might think you have. 71 wins on his way to claiming 4 F1 drivers' titles in a row. I'd say you've had some pretty good luck. But as we also noticed, 51 of those wins came with the number 1 on the deck, not the number 33.
Yeah, no kidding.
We'll see what the number 3 does for him. Speaking of numbers, incoming Racing Bulls rookie Arvid Lindblad has chosen his career number. He selected the number 41. Why? He didn't say. The 18-year-old's moving up from Formula 2 in 2025, where he claimed 3 wins, 2 other podium finishes, claimed 6 in the final standings. Producer John's about to put up the list of all the numbers that every driver is going to be using here on CRN Live on YouTube, and you get an idea of what all 22 drivers are going to be using next year. Lindblad moves into the quartet of cars being entered by Red Bull. He takes the place of Yuki Tsunoda. Tsunoda got moved up from Racing Bulls to Red Bull early in 2025, but he didn't do any better. In fact, he probably didn't even match the performance of the rookie that he replaced, Liam Lawson. So here's your pairing. Red Bull's got Max Verstappen alongside 2025 rookie Isaac Hajar. Lawson remains in the Racing Bulls ride, gets Lindblad as his stablemate, and Yuki Tsunoda becomes a reserve and practice driver. Lindblad's been part of the Red Bull Junior program since 2021, worked his way up through the F1 feeder series pretty quickly. So with Lindblad's announcement, there it is. All 22 of the cars have numbers assigned to them. You can find that if you are listening on the flagship radio station. You can find that on FIA social media. That's where I found that on X, just to let you know. So you should be able to find it even on Facebook. But yeah, everybody's assigned a number. And things are happening so quickly. Usually we talk about this kind of stuff late into January.
Yeah.
It's amazing how all this stuff has come together so quickly in Formula One this year.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot quicker than normal.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. So Marvel Cinematic Universe continues later on this year, and we're leading up to, I guess, what's the next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Some people are of a mind that maybe it should have ended after Endgame. I can kind of understand that, but here's the thing: Robert Downey Jr. is coming back. He'll be portraying Doctor Doom. Turns out there may be a Formula One connection to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'll tell you about it right after this.
Stay right here for more on the Championship Racing Network. Two tires only, and back out to the track for more action on the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back in here. Hour number 2 rolling along, and I teased it at the beginning, and it actually is Haas F1 driver Esteban Ocon. He's making noise about maybe becoming part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He got to hinting about it and about the coming year this past week. He's long talked about it. He's been a big fan of the Marvel comics since he was a kid, and the movies. He's a huge fan of those as well. Got asked about recently some of his hobbies by F1.com and replied, quote, about the comics. That's a big passion of mine. I'm really into comics, Marvel comics in particular. We have some exciting movies coming out this year. I love how he puts we. Have some exciting movies coming out this year, which are going to be awesome. A new Spider-Man, a new Avengers. It's going to be really cool. Can't wait for it. I've got something special coming soon as well, which will be very nice, and I hope that the fans will love it. It's going to come before the end of the year, so stay in touch. He could be just talking about having a livery, as they like to call it in Formula One.
Ted Kravitz livery.
Yeah. It could be just that. Maybe he's got a cameo. Who knows? Time will tell. We'll find out.
No telling.
As far as Cadillac is concerned, when the 2026 season dawns, one Cadillac driver is, well, he's already going to be in a little bit of trouble. Valtteri Bottas will have to serve a penalty because of a collision that he was deemed to be at fault for in the 2024 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix when he was driving for Sauber. He and then Haas F1 driver Kevin Magnussen, remember he drove for them, got together and it was determined to be Bottas' fault. The thing about it is, usually in a situation like that, what they'll do is they will serve a time penalty in that race. But the collision caused Bottas to have to retire from the race, so the penalty got revised into a 5 grid spot penalty after qualifying for his next race. He didn't have a next race in 2025. In the words of the FIA, quote, the next race in which the driver participates, quote unquote. So it left the penalty open-ended for whenever and wherever said driver, Bottas in this case, gets back into the action. Bottas was a reserve driver for Mercedes in 2025, but he never actually got into a race, so he still didn't serve the penalty. Here's another odd twist in this. There is a new for 2026 rule that states that any and all penalties to a driver expire after 12 months. So 12 months after it has been levied to you, it's gone. But they did not make the rule retroactive. It only counts from the initiation of the rule forward. So Bottas still has to serve the penalty in his first race of 2026, the Australian Grand Prix. So as it turns out, Cadillac's first ever qualifying round, Cadillac will also see their first penalty levied, even though technically it's not against them. It's against a team that technically won't be in existence any longer. Again, Sauber, they're bye-bye in favor of Audi. Weird.
Mm-hmm.
How in the world do you enact a rule like this and then say, you know what, maybe we ought to do this retroactive? How do you not do that?
Nothing in the world today surprises me anymore.
I wish I could say the same, but I turn around and I find out stuff like this, and it proves that wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting adamant.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How many times have we talked about this? Concord Agreement has been signed. The new one runs through 2030, right? 24 races, the maximum allowed on the F1 schedule by the rules of said Concord Agreement. They're going to have to begin to start shuffling things around to allow any new course to join the slate of the races, and that is going to be the case for 2027. We talked about the 2026 season. It's already set in stone. We're ready to go. But F1 has struck a deal with the government of Portugal, and Portimao returns to the schedule for at least 2027 and 2028. Kind of see a good portion of the track there if you're watching on CRN Live on YouTube. We know that the 2027 race is going to take the place of the Dutch Grand Prix. Zandvoort falls off the schedule after this upcoming season. They chose not to extend their deal with F1 past 2026. Funny thing is, as it happens, this coming year is the final year of the Spanish Grand Prix at Barcelona's Catalunya course as well. So that actually means that there were going to be 2 openings for 2027. One has now been taken, at least for 2027 and 2028. For 2026, there will be 2 races in Spain. The new street race in downtown Madrid comes in place of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix from Italy. That drops off. So here's where we start to shuffle things around. The new deal with the Belgian Grand Prix Spa-Francorchamps puts them on a 1 year on, 1 year off situation. That deal should not have an effect on this deal to put Portimao on the slate. And here's the deal. This is what probably is just going to become a long line of shuffles, because the Grand Prix of Thailand is set to join the schedule maybe as early as 2028. Talk about a race on the continent of Africa continues. South Africa is working on a street course. Rwanda's currently in the process of constructing a Grade 1 F1 facility. There's those 2, and one would think Italy would probably like to be able to get back to having 2 races a year. Germany's still making news about coming on board. France has talked about maybe doing the split on the 1 year on, 1 year off for Spa-Francorchamps. Maybe the French Grand Prix can return, filling in Spa's 1 year off deal. So you're starting to see where we're going here. There's a lot of countries here that are suddenly going, you know what? Yeah, we'd like to host an F1 race.
Yeah, but the way they do, and as picky as they are, somebody's got to fall for one to be able to stand.
Exactly. Let the shuffling begin.
And I'm sorry, but Las Vegas don't need to be on there.
Would you say Miami or Las Vegas? And, I understand Miami is one of the more popular races. We've talked about how many viewers that race brings in. I get it. But I would almost rather see them race on the streets of Las Vegas than race in a parking lot in Miami, which is what they're doing at Hard Rock Stadium.
I'm going to say both. Actually, I'm going to say both.
Okay. If you were, let me put this another way. You have two. COTA is definitely one.
COTA's one for sure. I mean, because it's a dedicated facility.
Okay. You're going to keep two F1 races in the United States, Miami or Vegas. Which one are you going with? And I've already stated which one I'm going with. I'm going to drop Miami with all due respect.
Considering that I know someone with knowledge of it, let their deals play out, drop both of them, get the upgrades done, bring them to Barber.
Oh, I'd love that. I think it'd be great.
Bring them to Barber.
I think it'd be great. Don't get me wrong.
Because by the knowledge that was shared to me,
mm-hmm.
Barber is, for the ones that's got it on YouTube, Barber is within that much of a fraction of being grade 2 to grade 1.
Yeah.
They're that close.
If you wanted to use the old school of looking at it, they would be grade 2 plus. They're just shy of a grade 1 minus.
Yes. They're that close.
And here's the thing. You and I have gone over this. There aren't that many grade 1 facilities in the United States of America. COTA's one of them. Indianapolis, strangely, was another one. But that's obviously after all the work that caused them to be jettisoned out of the United States after the 2007 Grand Prix at Indianapolis, where they were undergoing construction there and the tires were degrading every, 7 laps or something like that?
FIA grade 1 circuits.
The United States doesn't have many of them.
COTA, that's one.
Yeah.
Indianapolis, Las Vegas, Miami, of course.
I was trying to remember if Watkins Glen was at one time, obviously, but they're not anymore.
That is it. Grade 2s.
Barber.
Grade 2. Yes, Barber's 1.
I think Watkins Glen is on that list.
Detroit Street Circuit is grade 2.
You want to talk about having to do some work to smooth that out to be able to make that a grade 1.
Indy Road Course. They got a layout of the Indy Road Course is grade 2.
Oh, okay. So I was wrong.
Lime Rock is grade 2. Long Beach is grade 2. Mid-Ohio is grade 2.
They used to race at Long Beach. That's not surprising.
NOLA in Louisiana,
which Indycar's run at recently, but they only did it 1 year,
is grade 2. Portland's grade 2. Road America, Road Atlanta, Sebring, Sonoma, St. Petersburg. Thermal Club is grade 2.
Wow, I hadn't thought about that.
VIR is grade 2.
VIR, okay.
Laguna Seca is grade 2.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Grade 3. Brainerd.
Interesting.
The Formula E course at Homestead is grade 3.
I could see that. Yeah, Formula One had never run there.
New Jersey Motorsports Park is grade 3.
Okay.
Ozarks International Raceway is grade 3.
Presumably in Arkansas?
I guess so.
I never heard of it.
Never have either. Somebody's taking it off because I know Watkins Glen is
Watkins Glen was
minimum grade 2.
Yeah, because we've talked about that before. It was minimum grade 2. And again, they've hosted F1 before at Watkins Glen, as they did at Long Beach. The street courses, I talked about it when it came to Detroit.
Watkins Glen has no FIA grade anymore.
Wow, really?
Yep. No FIA grade anymore.
I wonder when the last time they sent an official there to look at it.
Good question.
Because they've done work at it over here in the last few years. So one would think it's in pretty good shape.
Good question.
But, you talked about Detroit. I've watched IndyCar run in the streets of Detroit just in the last couple of years when they moved to the downtown circuit around the GM Heritage Center.
Ozarks International Raceway is in Gravois Mills, Missouri.
Close to the Arkansas border?
No, mid-Missouri.
Mid-Missouri. Wow, okay. I was wrong. That's a very bumpy course in Detroit because it's on a street course. The amount of smoothing and paving they'd have to do just to the course to start to make that a grade 1 F1 facility would be ridiculous. Same thing with Long Beach. Long Beach is not a smooth course.
No.
Sebring, the airport, not a smooth course. Watch some of these races that happen at these events. IMSA races at Sebring a lot. These are not smooth courses, and F1 basically wants a glass smooth surface.
The expiration date of COTA's grade 1 is actually in 11 days. The Grand Prix circuit at Indianapolis is the grade 1. The regular road course is the grade 2.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Indianapolis goes away in May of 28. Miami's goes away in May of 28. And that's it.
Okay.
Barber's grade 2 expires March 27, so maybe it'll go to grade 1 by then. Don't know.
It'd be fun. It'd be fun to watch, no doubt. Before we get to IndyCar, I came across this from Formula E, and there's not much news out of Formula E, but I thought this was funny. Because we talked just a moment ago, or last hour, I should say, about the IHRA firing a shot across the bow of the NHRA, if not hitting a broadside. This one might be the equivalent of Formula E doing this, just thumbing their nose or whatever, to Formula One. Bold prediction from the officials from the all-electric series. If you remember, we showed off a few weeks ago, the new Gen 4 racer that the series is going to begin using next year. Here's the quick overview in case you missed it or forgot it. They will see an increase of power. They will jump up to 600 kilowatts of power, which is the equivalent to about, or a little over, actually, 800 horsepower. That's significantly up over the current output that currently sits at 350 kilowatts, or about 470 horsepower. In addition, they will have permanent four-wheel drive, 2 aero configurations, one which will be used for qualifying a high downforce. Then they'll move to a low downforce one for racing at particular surfaces or particular courses. And all of this, according to the officials, will bring the performance of Formula E close to what Formula One puts on the track. Something they say they've been aiming for since they announced the plans for the series a dozen or so years ago. Formula E CEO Jeff Dodd said this, quote, "The next car for Formula One probably gets a bit slower." We'll get back to that. Give me a moment. "So the gap will be very small, but the cost of investing in building the car and owning a race team is a fraction of a Formula One team. So you're basically getting about 95% of the performance for a fraction of the investment. I think Gen 4 gets us right on the heels of F1. Gen 5, probably faster." So take that info and realize that when you dig into the new rules for Formula One that will go into effect for the upcoming year. Yeah, we talked about the compression ratio a little bit earlier. Drops from 18-1 to 16-1. That's a little bit of a drop in power. But these new cars start with the new regulations of trying to get the cars to become smaller once again. They will be lighter, and their width and length also drops. They will have active aerodynamics, does include a little bit less downforce. Less downforce does relate to more straight line speed, not necessarily being able to corner as well. But they state, despite the drop in compression ratio, that the power output still pretty much the same. Not necessarily in response to Dodd's comments, but it is interesting timing in that Mercedes boss, team boss Toto Wolff, actually thinks that the 2026 F1 cars could be capable of hitting 400 kilometers per hour in a straight line, which is just shy of 250 miles per hour.
There's only
Yeah, try and unwrap that, shall you, Matt? You want to take a break and try and get your thoughts cogent?
Yeah, 250 is a stretch.
Yeah, there's a lot to unwrap here. I like how we use that just before Christmas. Yeah, there's a lot to unwrap here. Trying to figure out exactly how this is all going to work out. So I'll put it in the hands of our resident driver who knows, truth be told, a heck of a lot more about this kind of stuff than I do. And I like to think that I'm okay versed in it. But we'll get his thoughts on it when we come back. Plus, we'll talk about IndyCar. They've got their 2026 season set times 2.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network. Back to the Championship Racing Network.
Yeah, we are. Final round here. All right. Before we get into IndyCar news here and talk about their 2026 schedule in detail, we left you with the Formula E guys saying, hey, we think we're right there in the performance ranks with F1. And then F1 comes out, specifically Mercedes boss Toto Wolff says, these cars should be capable of hitting 250 miles per hour. And there are some tracks with some really good long straightaways in Formula One. There's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
But not to hit absolute top speed, especially if it's 250 miles per hour. So
that would be a stretch. Huge.
You know, it's a great statement by Toto Wolff. Number one, where are you gonna prove it? Because you're gonna do it on a closed circuit somewhere. Please come to Talladega. Let's prove it. Nobody's going to do that.
The only place that comes to mind right off the bat where you could probably get close. Keyword close.
Close, yeah.
Would be Monza.
Yeah, Monza's high speed.
Coming off the last corner on the main straightaway.
Yeah.
Because it's from the last corner is flat out.
And that long run down the Vegas Strip.
Vegas?
What's one of the Baku's pretty fast. They have a long straight at Baku, don't they?
It's not as long as Vegas. You make it get.
That's true.
You make it get close at the long straight at Miami. May,
yeah, maybe. Not sure. You start going up that hill, that's going to hurt you at Coda. So it's not going to be Coda.
Front straightaway at Catalunya.
Yeah, which is going off the schedule after this year.
Can't
really think of any other track.
My brain cells are frying thinking of this here.
Yeah. The truth of the matter is, though, even if they can't reach that 250, Toto Wolff is basically trying to say, hey, listen, Formula One's still king of the hill. Formula E can talk all the heck they want to talk, but in the end, he thinks that they're still going to be faster, regardless.
Front stretch at Mexico City. That's a long one. That's a long one.
I had not thought about that. Gilles Villeneuve doesn't. Canada does not. I don't think Brazil. Sao Paulo doesn't have one.
Let's see.
Can't think of one at Silverstone.
No.
Spa's got a couple of.
Take them back to Fuji. Fuji's got a straightaway to do it.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, that would do it. I don't know. Time will tell. That stretch down at Suzuka, even on the front stretch, that's nowhere near long enough.
So, the front stretch of Saudi Arabia make it close.
Jeddah. Okay. Maybe. Somebody build a straightaway long enough to try and get them to go full speed. Just do it. How about you guys in Rwanda and in Africa? Come on, build yourself a nice long front stretch. Let's go for speed.
Maybe not. Too many twists and turns. I'm gonna say the two closest bets are gonna be Monza and Las Vegas.
Be interesting to watch. I don't know. We got to find that out. I mean, again, they're losing a lot of. Yeah, they're losing compression ratio, which I don't know. It'll drop the power some, but they're stating it's going to be made up for in the aerodynamics of the fact that you've got a thinner, shorter car. Your tires are going to be a little bit thinner as well. They're not going to be as wide as what we have been seeing over the last couple of years. So that'll help the aerodynamics as well.
Yeah.
So what they dropped in compression ratio, they're easily making up for in the aerodynamics. And then you add in the active aerodynamics, which could make a big difference as well. You may be right. You may be in a situation where they do keep king of the hill and it's not really as close as the guys over at Formula E are squawking about.
Yeah, that's it'd be hard to get a battery box to go 250.
Yeah. And here's the other thing about it is we're getting that new car in IndyCar in 2028.
Mm-hmm.
Which the chassis in and of itself is not going to be radically different. It's going to be an evolution, not a revolution, as they have said. But the bodywork, on the other hand, could actually be quite the revolution. It'll be interesting to see what IndyCar does because they've said that they would be interested in trying to get up there and do about the same kind of performance that F1 does too. And in a straight line, you have kind of proven it out based upon the amount of downforce that the F1 cars had.
Mm-hmm. That
an Indy car in a straight line could go faster.
Yeah.
But we're talking about going through all the twisties and everything, doing everything the same way as an F1 car does. We could actually see that in Indy car quicker than we might see it in Formula E.
Yep. You could.
We'll find out. All right, to IndyCar here as we get ready to wrap up this week and this year, strangely enough. After some criticism from their first year in covering IndyCar and NASCAR, not the least of which was from us here at CRN, Fox Sports has announced their schedule for IndyCar this coming season. Now, what's the criticism? It's not really about IndyCar. It was about the fact that they had been NASCAR's host since 2001. And they put NASCAR on the back burner and put IndyCar, all the races, on the main network, which they're going to do again. You'll see the schedule as we kind of go over it in detail here on CRN Live on YouTube if you're up there. The times, to be blunt, are all over the place. This is, by the way, airtime, pre-race, not the actual start of the race. That's what we deal with when we give you the race schedule. We talk about when the race itself will start, not the coverage. This is the start of the coverage, pre-race. Things will kick off March the 1st, noon Eastern time. I'm always going to give you the Eastern time schedule, the St. Petersburg Grand Prix. The next week, the doubleheader with NASCAR on Saturday, going to put IndyCar on the track at 3 p.m. Eastern, and then at 12:30 p.m. the next Sunday, the 15th. Then you get the inaugural, I'm sorry, that was Phoenix, by the way. Then 12:30 p.m. the next Sunday, the 15th, that'll be the inaugural Streets of Arlington race in, Arlington, right in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Right in and around where all the sports facilities for all the Dallas-Fort Worth pro teams are. The Dallas Cowboys, the Texas Rangers, their UFL team, the Arlington Renegades are there. Their soccer team, whose name does not ring a bell to me right at the moment, they're all in that area. All those stadiums are right in that area, and they've created a street course that'll also use part of the AT&T Stadium parking lot as their course for there. So again, that's 12:30 p.m. Eastern there for that. Wrapping up the month of March, they'll be at Barber Motorsports Park about a month earlier than what they have been. That'll start at 1 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be interesting because you and I have been out there the last couple of years, and we know the undercard, if you will, and the number of series that come in. It's not just Indy Next, but all the other series that come in and support. This tells me there's probably going to be maybe as many as 2 or 3 races after the IndyCar race because there's a lot of daylight left after this IndyCar race gets done.
Yeah.
That's an early start for that. Next up will be the all the way back out to the left coast with the Acura Streets of Long Beach. And since it's on the left coast, it'll start at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then comes May in Indianapolis. Starts with the Indy Grand Prix. Coverage will be at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. That seems a late start for a race that technically I think is in the Eastern time zone. Isn't Indiana?
Indiana is, yes.
Whew.
Yep.
Seems a little late, but okay. You chose it. And then we go on to the 110th Indy 500. We could talk about all the qualifyings and bump days and carburation day and all that. I'm just talking about the race. The Indy 500 will begin bright and early with coverage at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Now, there's obviously a lot of pre-race coverage for the Indy 500. I think it's 90 minutes as opposed to an hour. But still, that's a pretty early start. And remember, this is the day with the new F1 schedule where we're going to go from IndyCar with the Indy 500 to Formula One running the Canadian Grand Prix. And then we get to Cup Series action with the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte. So there's your new greatest day in racing, if you will.
Yeah.
Let's see. From the Indy 500, we go to the streets of Detroit. Starts at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. 9 p.m. Eastern, the next Sunday, is the race at Worldwide Tech Raceway at Gateway. They're going to do a Sunday evening race on Fox Sports, which means IndyCar gets prime time coverage on Fox on a Sunday night.
Interesting.
If it doesn't rain. Let's see. On to Road America. Race coverage will roll at 2 p.m. Eastern. Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course will get underway at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Nashville Super Speedway. Here's the wild card. The race time for Nashville Super Speedway, yet to be determined.
I thought that was a night race.
It was. Let's see. What are we talking about? We're talking about July 19th. Do me a favor. Look up the Cup Series schedule. Tell me what Cup Series race is running on July 19th while you're there. And I'll talk about the last leg of the season for IndyCar while he's looking that up. Last leg of IndyCar season will start at Portland Raceway, 4 p.m. Eastern, noon Eastern for the Streets of Markham race. Remember, this is the race that will take place in Canada in place of the Toronto event because the World Cup is in North America and it's being games in Canada, the United States, and Mexico. Then you got the doubleheader weekend of the Milwaukee Mile. Saturday, race 1, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Race 2 on Sunday will be at 1 p.m. Eastern. Season finale, WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. That will roll off at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Now, Fox had said, and I understand that we'll be past Fox's coverage of NASCAR by this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
But Fox said that they wanted to do their level best to try and work with IndyCar, yes, during their portion of it, but really throughout the entire season to see if they could not try and not have IndyCar and NASCAR rolling at the same time. So Nashville Superspeedway, July 19th, race yet to be determined.
They would be competing against North Wilkesboro.
I could see why they might want to avoid that. North Wilkesboro starts at?
Wilkesboro Stars. Let me go back to it. I just clicked out of it. 7 o'clock Eastern.
So they got all day. They don't have to do it at night.
But
it's July 19th in Nashville in the summer.
In the South. Enough said.
Whew. All right.
Enough said.
We shall see, shan't we? All right, let's see what else we got here. While Christmas 2025 is ready to run right over us, the 2026 racing season, not too far behind. It'll begin in earnest with respect to Formula E with the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona, and as usually happens, is going to be filled with drivers from other series, most notably IndyCar. Amongst the drivers confirmed to be running in any of the divisions running in the endurance race that happens the weekend of January 24th and 25th, 5 of the 7 drivers who claim to win in 2025 in IndyCar are going to be involved. List of current and former IndyCar drivers kind of breaks down like this. And the list, by the way, isn't finalized. Not all the drivers have been named. I'll tell you that right now. Alex Palou set to run in the GTP class for Meyershank Racing with Curb Agajanian. They're number 93. His Chip Ganassi IndyCar teammate Scott Dixon, again, going to be teaming with him, but they're going to be in the other team entry, the number 60. These mark the only 2 full-time IndyCar drivers who are going to be running in the 2026 Rolex in the division where they could claim the overall win. Now, remember, Connor Zilic is also in this from NASCAR. Others with IndyCar ties, Colton Herta, he was prepping for the Formula 2 season, but he's also going to run a GTP. Again, he's prepping for Formula 2, so I can't say that he's an IndyCar driver. But he's going to be Wayne Taylor Racing, their number 40 Cadillac entry. Then you got LMP2, former IndyCar driver Sebastian Bourdais, current Chip Ganassi racing driver Kiffin Simpson, going to run for the Tower Motorsports team in their 07 entry. Kyle Kirkwood's going to be running in the GTD Pro entry for Vassar Sullivan Racing in their Lexus. Will Power actually makes his Rolex 24 debut. He's going to join the Express team in the GTD Pro category in the number 75. And staying in that category, Marcus Ericsson joins Wayne Taylor Racing to drive their number 45. Others with IndyCar ties that are going to be racing for the 2 spins around the clock: Enzo Fittipaldi, James Rowe from Indy Next, and Christian Rasmussen. While that's not, again, that's the entire list that we have so far. Not all the teams have filled out their driver lineup, and more are expected to be added before the race gets rolling. Here's the other part of it. Chili Bowl's coming up. A lot of NASCAR drivers tend to go to the Chili Bowl Nationals as opposed to going to the Rolex 24, even though they're not technically at exactly the same date. They're close. What we know now is that, shock of all shocks, Kyle Larson's going to go, and so's Christopher Bell. And both of those guys, between the 2 of them, they've got 5 overall wins in the Chili Nationals just between the 2 of them. Those are only the first 2 drivers that have announced they're going to be running in the Chili Bowl. We're going to wait until the entire list is out, or at least a majority of them are out, before we go letting you know what the entire list looks like. How's that? 2 other bits of information here. Speaking of Kiffin Simpson, got a new look for 2026. The Chip Ganassi Racing number 8 car has a multi-year deal. And Simpson's going to have Sunoco colors on his Honda-powered ride, marking the first full season for Sunoco as a car sponsor since 1973. They had been the race fuel supplier for IndyCar from 2010 through 2018. They're not anymore. For the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, they were also from 2015 through 2018. This marks a significant re-entry into the series for this company. They've been involved in really since about 1968, when Mark Donohue introduced the company to IndyCar at Riverside that year. Other drivers to support the Sunoco name over the years and the colors: Gary Bettenhausen, Tony Kanaan, Bobby Allison, and Townsend Bell. Hey, maybe they'll stick around for a while. Maybe they'll try and get back into being the race fuel supplier. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
And then one other note here, and this is regarding a team shop, and it's Arrow McLaren. Their new race shop in Indianapolis has been undergoing a renovation from its previous occupants as to when they took it over officially on July 1st of this year. The renovation, the team has announced, is almost complete. It will allow, like most new team shops these days, a place for the fans to not only go in and kind of roam around, but actually be able to see some of the work being done on the race shop floor. The facility also got expanded. Some 11,000 square feet of expansion specifically should be completed by the end of this year. Plans for the entire works of the team to move in on or about January 5th, which would be the first business day of the new year for them, apparently. When open, the team says all employees and visitors will be able to enter into the main lobby. So all team employees enter in through the main lobby just like the visitors do. Okay. This will feature IndyCar and F1 cars of the team's past and a circular staircase. The visitors get to go up the staircase up to the second floor. There'll be a trophy case, office space, a break room that includes event space, and a big old viewing window that if you were on CRN Live on YouTube, you probably saw. That will allow the visitors to look on the shop floor. And then there's Dreyer and Reinbold. They're talking about their future. They're thinking maybe as soon as 2028, they might be back full-time.
That'd be cool.
They're running only one race a year right now. It's the Indy 500. They say that that's their plan right now for 2026, but as they look ahead to 2027, they're talking about starting to enter a few races, and maybe as soon as 2028, when the new IndyCar regulations for that new car we were talking about a little bit earlier come in, they might get back to full-time racing. It's all about sponsorship money and being able to find it.
Yep.
Hope that they can. Everybody have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from all of us at CRN. We'll talk to you
a
2
presentation
weeks.
of the Championship Racing Network.
WDNG 14.